where you live should not feel like a life sentence.
So you could start your business in the US and get your E-2 visa before you're...
And is this currently the only way for Canadians to be able to relocate?
Absolutely not. Honestly, they weren't very willing to give us information.
I'm a Canadian. I'm ready to move to the US. What is my next step in making it happen?
The next step is...
I am so excited, you guys. Today, Jess has me at her new recording studio, which is gorgeous, by the way. And we are going to be talking about helping Canadians relocate to Florida. It is such a hot topic. And I, as a relocation specialist, get this question all the time. Help me. How can I move to Florida? I'm Canadian. I need a visa. Where do I start? And I don't have all those answers, but my friend Jess here does. So I'm super, super excited to get them today and ask you more questions about how to do it. She's helping people do it in a way that's very unconventional, but really rewarding, I think.
Yeah, so we got our E-2 visa and we didn't realize how easy of a process it could be. A lot of people hear visa and they think 3, 4, 5-year process, or that they need to spend $1 million or, all these crazy things. And it took us a learning curve, but once we figured it out, we realized you can get your visa in 3, 4, 5 months, and it's a much easier process than people might think.
That's crazy. So if you're listening right now from Canada and you're freezing your ass off, 3 to 4 months, that's crazy. So tell me more about how you learned and like how you are helping other people do that now too.
Yeah, so the biggest thing with this visa is you need to either start or buy a business in the USA. If you start a business, you're bringing money into the US economy, you're creating jobs for Americans, and the government wants you to come and live here because it's a benefit to them. So that's why this visa is so quick, because it benefits the US economy. So you can either start that business or buy a business. Then you create a business plan, which, lawyers and stuff help you with all that. But then in the business plan, you're basically telling the government, if you come and let me live here, I can create more jobs and I can bring more income into the U.S. economy.
And is this currently the only way for Canadians to be able to relocate, or is this just the easiest way that they can do it?
It's absolutely not the only way. There's so many ways you can relocate, but by far, out of all the research I've done and everyone I've talked to, it's the quickest, the most efficient, the highest approval rate, and just simply the easiest visa to get.
Right, because it is just such a hot topic. Like I hear it all the time, and people know that they need money in order to do it, a lot of them. So tell me more about their options then. If you have to spend 80 to 100,000, what is the best option for them, or what have you found that your clients benefit from the most with this visa?
So we've always been in real estate. My husband's had his real estate license my husband is a high school dropout, and he got his real estate license at 19 years old.
Which you guys have been together since high school.
Since high school.
Right. So you watch this whole thing unfold. Colin drops out. You stay strong. You're like, I'm going to go to college for us. And then what? He got into real estate?
Yeah. So Colin is a high school dropout, got his real estate license. I went to college. I worked for the school board for a while, got pregnant, had Hayden, and stayed at home. I never went back to the school board. Stayed home with her for 2.5, 3 years. And by then, she was a little bit older, and I felt like I needed to fill my cup a little bit. So I got my real estate license and started doing that. Was really successful in that. We bought a few properties, became landlords. We were doing flips. So real estate has been in our journey since, 15 years now. We built our dream home, thought we were going to live in Canada forever. And then one day we just looked at each other the second week of September, and we were like, what are we doing here?
And what year was that?
This was 2023.
Okay.
And we looked at each other and we said, what are we doing here? It's the second week of September.
That's the summer scaries, by the way. I coined this term.
Yeah.
Where the summer's ending and you're starting to feel scared.
Yes.
It's the summer scaries.
Well, we had just built our backyard. We built this, big, beautiful house. We built a backyard with a pool, a basketball court, an outdoor kitchen, everything you could want. And second week of September, we sat outside at 8:00 at night, and it was too cold to sit around the fire.
Yeah, you can only enjoy your property up where I'm from, where she's from, 4 to 6 months a year, realistically.
If that,
Yeah, it's cold.
yes. And
it's cold. It's unbearable.
Exactly. And we were just like, what did we just do? We just spent so much money building this backyard, and it's over. like second weekend of September.
They had an aha moment.
Literally, we sat around that fire, bundled up in a blanket, and we were just. And
What are we doing
We
here?
started looking. I found this this Texas realtor kept coming up on my For You page, and I started looking at Texas real estate prices, and that's kind of what started it. I mean, obviously, we pivoted from Texas to Florida, but that's kind of how it all started. And we're just like, what are we doing in Canada? There's so much about it we don't like. We can afford to live anywhere in the world. Why are we living here? And that's kind of how it started for us. So then our search from there began. But one thing about us and about my husband specifically is when he wants to do something, he does it. There's, what's the saying? If you're going to wait till you're 100% sure of something, the opportunity will be gone. You need to be like 70 to 80% sure of something and just do it.
Yeah, someone else is taking.
The people who analyze for too long and look into it too much, it's going to be gone by the time you do it.
If you wait for conditions to be perfect, you're going to be waiting forever.
Exactly.
And someone else is going to capture that opportunity, is right?
Yeah.
So that was in 2023. So then walk me through, okay, what is the timeline? We saw Texas, then what made you swing from Texas to Florida too? That's a good question, because I've got a lot of relocation people that end up, you know, looking at a ton of areas that are warm, and Texas is more affordable. Like, you can get a really nice house in some areas of Texas for $1 million. But what was it ultimately that made you make the pivot and choose Florida?
Yeah, so originally we were looking at Texas. I don't know. We always just have felt those kind of like country roots. So that's what we were looking at. We actually put a deposit down on a new build house. Beautiful acre lot in a nice community. $600,000.
It's crazy.
Triple car garage.
Texas prices are insane.
Yes.
And you can get an acre, which you can't get that.
And this was
where I
about
live right
an
now.
hour outside of Dallas. So the suburbs, but it was still like $600,000. And at the last minute, we said, you know what? We're not in a rush. We're not 100% sure. We know not a soul in Texas, not a single soul. Let's take 6 months and travel. Let's try out a few different places. Hayden wasn't in school yet, so I was like, we had time. So we did a 6-month rental outside of Miami, and we said, let's just take our time. It's close to the airport, so we can, spend time going to other places. And quickly after maybe 3-4 weeks, we realized Florida was where we wanted to be. Just the networking that you can do in Florida is like,
it's crazy. The net worth of some of the people that you hang around in Florida too, like, it's crazy. And some people can get lost in the lifestyle, like, don't get me wrong, but Miami, like, what do you call it? The people that are very pretentious, like, that culture is here in South Florida, but that's why we love Fort Lauderdale too. It's because you don't get that. Like, your kids can grow up touching grass. There's definitely acre-sized properties that you can get in South Florida starting around $1 million, but it's going to be further west. Obviously, they don't have acre lots like right next to the beach, but Fort Lauderdale definitely has that homier feel. What brought you to Fort Lauderdale instead of North Miami?
Yeah, so we did 6-month rental.
What city was that
We were in Hollandale Beach at the beach club on the water. And the only thing we had to go off from that was we were like, okay, it's on the beach. We wanted to try beach living, and it was halfway point between Miami, Fort Lauderdale, Boca, like all the kind of areas we were thinking about living. So we were like, perfect. It's smack dab in the middle. It's on the beach. We'll try. Maybe we want to live on the beach. We had no idea. I very quickly realized Hollandale was not gonna be my home.
It's even over there. I don't even get there often. It is a weird, like, little passing area between.
Yeah,
and sometimes it's not ideal to be between, because it's like there's not much going on in the middle versus like committing to like Miami or committing to Fort Lauderdale or committing to Boca or committing to West Palm.
Exactly. So we spent probably a month or so like doing day trips and stuff to Miami. Realized, nope, Miami's not for me.
Where did you go? South Beach?
Just all over. Like, we would just go out to random places to eat just to see what the vibe was like. I would take Hayden to a park. Kind of, that's what I did a lot of when I was looking at different neighborhoods, is I would find a park to go to and just bring my daughter and pack a lunch and try to spend like 2-3 hours there. And
Yeah.
you can quickly find out about a
Vibe
neighborhood.
out,
Yeah.
see what's going on.
So I very quickly realized Miami was not for us. And then it was Boca. And I was quite set on Boca for a minute.
I could maybe see you, but also like you're not Boca, I don't think.
Yeah. We looked at Lotus Palm, I think is the community. And we were going to buy a house there. And then I even like toured a private school for my daughter.
Private, really, there's like amazing. So for all of my clients that have kids, K through 12, Boca has A-rated schools. And a lot of my friends that live in Boca, they still send their kids to private school because, you know, private school has its benefits. But in case anyone is ever looking, I'm always sending my clients who have 3-4 kids that don't want to put their kids through private school. Boca has amazing schools, 10 out of 10 K through 12. So it's always a good option.
Yeah.
It was what, West Boca you were looking at, right?
Well, wherever Lotus Palm is. I don't even know it. Like, I'm so unfamiliar with the area. I just liked that community.
Yeah, and Boca does have this Ritz sort of feel in the community. So you can have your own private pool, but then it also has like the community pool too in the gated community. So it's like a resort style.
It's definitely
kind of
nice. I think we just realized like
this isn't us.
it's a little bit boring for our lifestyle.
It is. You go to Meisner Park and it's like sleepy.
Yeah.
It's sleepy. That's really the
so
only
then we're
place
like,
to go
okay,
there.
every time we want to go out, we're coming to Fort Lauderdale.
Or Del Rey, you have to go down.
Yes. Or in
Fort Lauderdale's too far from there.
Yeah.
But Del Rey is a different vibe too, and I don't know how to describe it. But every time I go there, I'm like
beachy.
I feel like even the strip, like Atlantic Ave, it's like older people or young people like in college. Like there's not really that middle ground, like where we're at in our 30s.
So yeah, we started in Hollandale Beach, realized we didn't like that, tried Miami, didn't like that. Like I said, tried Boca, a little too slow for us, and then found Fort Lauderdale and take my daughter just to the parks around Fort Lauderdale, and I would actually spark up conversations with some of the moms, which wasn't happening for me in Miami when I was scoping out that area.
Like, yeah, no, I
it was
see
just like
that.
a natural, like, hey, your kid and my, just like what I was looking for, like that little bit of socialness that I wasn't getting in other cities that we looked at.
Yeah.
And then I met a couple people in the area, found a great school for my daughter to go to. So we moved into that area for the school. And it has been the best thing. I don't think we'll ever leave. It has a mix of everything. Like, you can still go out and have a good time. And I don't ever feel a need to go to Miami, ever.
No.
You have...
And with our new, like, restaurants and scenes that we have, we've got, like, lounges coming in and new restaurants. And Las Olas, it just has so much going on where it's, like, unless you want to go to a club, which at this point in my life, I went to a club on New Year's, and I'm like, I'm set. Like, I'm leaving clubs in 2025.
Yeah.
If you want just, like... I love Fort Lauderdale too, and I've lived in 8 different zip codes down here in South Florida, and it's hard to describe, but it's so different than Miami. Like, Miami, yeah, they're not going to talk to you. Like, you might have something to say and try and start up a conversation, but they're going to be, like, moving on their way.
Fort Lauderdale is like a small town in a big city.
Yeah, for sure.
I find there's so much, connection. Like, you'll know someone who will know someone, and then it's like, oh,
exactly,
we all know each other.
I say it all the time. It's like it's small. Fort Lauderdale is small. Like, I'll go out and I'll see like so many people I know because we all go to the same places.
I've only been here a year and a half, and I feel like that.
Yeah.
And I don't have a real estate career where I'm out meeting people, and I still feel like that.
Exactly.
Only being here a year and a half. And so small town vibe in a big city with big city amenities. So the Hard Rock is 20 minutes away, where you have all your shows. All the sports games are 15, 20 minutes away. You have shows here in Fort Lauderdale. You have so many good restaurants.
The Panthers play like right down the road. You can get on the Bright Line and go to Miami and not hit any traffic on the new electric train, the Bright Line. And it's close enough to Miami to go for a night out. It's 40 minutes on a good day. And you can zip down there, get an Uber, and then every time I go to Miami, I'm like, I'm all set on this for honestly, like months.
Yeah.
A year. Like 6 months to a year.
Even my husband asked me to go to a Heat game, and I was like, I just don't want to go to Miami.
No, because there's crowds and lines and overpriced drinks, and it's like sardines versus here, we just have less of a population, I think, too. More grass. There's still skyscrapers and like the tall building, the big city feel, but we have more grass.
Yeah, it's definitely like the best mix of everything for us as like a young family. And there's so many, sports activities, so much for the kids to do. They're out on, sailing all the time, out on boats. There's so many parks. There's
surrounded by water. There's like the intercoastal is everywhere around here.
But then it's still like lively for the parents and like social. So definitely Fort Lauderdale.
Yes, if you're a parent and you've got kids, if you're in Miami, if you don't have kids and you want to like go out all the time and walk to go get your groceries, then Brickell might be a spot for you.
Maybe.
But if you have kids, so I want to hear more too about like how you changed lifestyle so fast too, because if you're under contract or you have a deposit on a house that has an acre versus the house that you have now, which is beautiful and amazing, it's just so different. Like it's a big house, smaller lot. So how did that whole thing change for you?
Yeah, so our house in Canada was 3/4 of an acre. We were in a really nice estate neighborhood with some land, and we had a big 6,000 square foot house, and it was the dream house that everyone thinks they want. And then when we had that epiphany moment, we were kind of like, we don't need all this. Like this is not. I want to be outside. I want to be traveling.
Yep.
There's 3 of us. Like what do we need this for?
Yep.
We want to walk to the grocery store, which where I lived, you couldn't do that.
Yeah.
We want to be out, like I said, we want to be outside, enjoy our lives. So when we first moved here, we lived in a condo for 2 years and I loved it.
Yeah.
It was such a perfect transition period for us to downsize from 6,000 square feet to 1,800 square feet, but we were outside all the time.
That is so important because I hear people all the time that are coming from Michigan or these more remote areas and they don't want to give up their square footage. Okay. Because if you want to be in East Fort Lauderdale for a reasonable price point, let's say $1 million for a single family home, you're going to be at like 1,800 to maybe 2,200 square feet in that $1 million price point if you are in East Fort Lauderdale. There's a lot of options though too. The further west you go, you can go a little bit north. But if you're right in the prime area, a lot of my clients are like so scared to downsize. And I tell them, yeah, back in Michigan, you have 3,000 square feet of living area inside your home. But here you might be at 2,000 square feet, but you have a backyard and you have a pool and you spend so much of your time outside that I consider the yard here in Florida to be living space.
Yeah. And what I'll say to that is our house in Canada, we built to entertain. So, we would have every Christmas, we would have, 75 to 100 people over at our house. And we would do the same thing in the summer. We'd have people over all the time. Our lifestyle here has changed where we're not doing that. We're meeting people at
Everybody goes out. Everybody goes out.
Yes.
I'm telling you, like same. No one ever comes to my
Our
place.
house is for us to, and yes, we'll have friends over or whatever and we're barbecuing, but it's on a smaller scale.
Totally.
We're definitely out of the house more. So
because there's so much to do. Let's talk about that for a second. There is so much to do in Fort Lauderdale, almost up in the Midwest and up in Canada. Things just pretty much stop. They might do a Christmas parade and everyone can go freeze their ass off outside about that. There is so much to do every single weekend. There's a movie in the park. There's a parade. There's an event, an art festival, a wine festival, a beach like rosé thing. Like there is so much to do here.
Yeah, 100%.
Restaurants are opening every single week. I'm going to a new nightclub opening tomorrow in Wynwood, right? Not clubbing. I'm not clubbing in Miami, but like a friends and family is like a more casual scene club. And it's like, there's so much going on here.
It's so busy that I have a list of things that I still want to do, like restaurants I want to eat at. And because I don't have
After 2
time
years.
to do it all after being here for you're not home as much. And that's the lifestyle we wanted. So
it took me 8 years to go on the water taxi and it goes past our building all the time. All the time.
Yeah.
And I would recommend people go on it, but it took me 8 years to actually go.
It's funny. The only time I ever actually went on the water taxi was when I had friends visiting.
Right.
And I took them on to be like, oh, what do you do as a tourist? Even though I could be doing that all the time, but it is so busy already that I don't have time to do those things. Like there's so much to fill your days. We're not entertaining as much because we're out doing things. And then you don't have to clean up the mess
Right.
anyways, so it's even better.
Win-win.
Yeah.
And then guess what? You don't have to be like, all right, guys, it's time to leave. You know,
Yeah.
when you have to like try and get people out of your house.
Yeah.
That's the worst.
Exactly.
But also, it's important to note that Jess and I are both entrepreneurs. Like, we're not sitting here going to the golf club or the country club all day. When we say that there's so much to do, it's on the weekends or after our kids get out of school, right? Or even going to the beach. Like, that's become one of Cal and mine's favorite thing to do after school. Go to the beach, watch the sunset, like go with a snack instead of like going with our swimsuits. Sometimes we'll go and just like watch the sunset. And it's like different when you vacation to Florida versus when you live here. I'll go like 3 months without going to the beach sometimes, you know? It's just so different.
Yeah. I used to be like, okay, if we're on vacation, we need to spend 8 hours at the beach and you pack all this stuff. Now our beach visits are 45 minutes to an hour. Sometimes we don't even bring our bathing suit. Sometimes we just drive down and we grab ice cream on the beach and we go and sit and let the dog run around. And it's more of a quick outing now, the beach, than actually like going and spending your whole day there.
Exactly. And it's like you have to commit to like all the sand in your car. And it's definitely a different lifestyle living in Florida versus just visiting.
That's why when we first moved here and we did a 6-month rental at the beach club, I thought like, oh, we're going to love this beach living. And we did. Don't get me wrong. We did spend, you know, afternoons and days at the beach, but you quickly realize you don't need to live on the beach.
Yeah, no. And you don't want to live on that side of the drawbridge too, which is important. So there's like an intercoastal here that has a ton of drawbridges. And if you live really close to the beach, then you're on that drawbridge's schedule. So for someone like me that's like 5 minutes early to like right on time every single time, that drawbridge can fuck your day up.
Yeah, no.
It can. If you're like, shit, like I'm like stuck here, you know. So I prefer to be not landlocked on that side, but it is just interesting seeing the different lifestyle here.
Yeah, for sure.
Like what you think it is versus what it is.
Exactly. And when we moved here, we thought beach life, being on the beach. No, I think the last time we were at the beach was probably 2 months ago. And we drove to the Hollywood Boardwalk. I
love that.
We just went for a nice evening drive. We had Molly in the car, my daughter and my dog in the car, and we got ice cream and we went and sat and we spent probably not even an hour, and then just walked around and went back. And like that's what
But Florida's a lot of like, we should do this more often, you know, but it's always there. Like the opportunity is always there, but you're just filling your time with sports schedules. Like we both have kids the same age, which is essentially how we know each other. Well, our dogs obviously introduced us, which we can talk about later, but we're busy. Our schedules are full. But then every time that you want to do something, the opportunity is there. You know, it's sunny 80% of the year. Obviously, we have our own drawbacks, which we can talk about in another episode. I don't want to get too sidetracked, but that is one pro of comparing Texas to Florida is the beach thing, right? Is that something that you considered?
Yeah, 100%. So when we were looking at Texas compared to Florida, Texas obviously had the cheaper real estate.
Yeah.
But like I said, that quickly shifted once we realized how much, you know, more networking and stuff we can do in Florida. And having the cheaper house didn't mean as much at that point. But also the beach was just being able to look at water. Even if you're not at the water all the time, just driving down to the beach it just makes you feel good. And especially our building where we lived, we had the water view and everything, just looking outside. So definitely being close to water was one factor.
Is huge.
The accessibility of travel was a big thing for us because coming from Toronto, direct flights from Toronto to Texas are expensive. And, you know, if we have family that wants to come down and visit, we don't want them to have to spend $1,000 each every time they're.
That's huge because when I talk to people about relocating, 99% of people, like the number one thing that is holding them back is family.
Yeah.
You know, what's keeping you in the Midwest? Family. Have you seen that meme where it's like Dora or something like that? Or DW? I don't remember what it was, but what's holding you back from moving? Family. Right. So that is so important to know and do research on. And people might not pick that up if they're like doing home shopping like right away. You might just be like, oh, flights are a little bit more expensive. But when you start going there a few times to check out the area, you're like, wait a minute, For a family of 3 to get back and forth, like
Yeah.
even my sister, she's out in like Northern California. For her to travel anywhere for a family of 3, it was like $2,000, right?
Yeah.
That's just a lot.
And that's what we thought of. First of all, you know, when we need to go back to Canada, you know, for whatever reason, that's a factor. But we were also thinking about our family coming to visit us because we knew more often than not they were going to be coming to us because who doesn't want to come to
when
Florida?
you move to Florida, you get a lot of visitors.
Versus us going to Canada. And we were like,
Right.
okay, they're going to have to pay $1,000 every time for a ticket to Texas versus Florida. You can get a flight one way for $50, $75.
That's crazy.
And it's
Out of where, Toronto?
out of Toronto.
That's crazy.
And it's a quick flight. So that was one factor. Obviously, that wasn't a deciding factor, but it was a factor. And then for us, we're smack dab close to 2 major airports here. So in where we were looking in Texas,
3 almost. There's
yes,
3.
West Palm
There's
too.
3 available.
Yeah, where we were living and looking in Texas, we were an hour away from the airport, and it was one airport. There often wasn't direct flights to a lot of places we wanted to go to. Here we have Miami Airport, Fort Lauderdale Airport, and West Palm too. We've flown out of there as well. You can always get a direct flight. We're 30-minute flights from the Bahamas. We've been there 3 times in the last year. We just go for a weekend. It's a 30-minute flight. Cruising.
Cruise ships go out of
We
here.
cruise a lot. And so that's so easy. I'll just pick my daughter up early on a Friday, take her on a weekend cruise, just drive 20 minutes to the port. Like there's so many benefits to it. It's a different lifestyle.
It comes down to lifestyle. That's what
Yeah.
I was thinking. It's like if you are just moving somewhere, family's not a factor, if traveling's not a factor,
Yeah.
then you know, you don't mind being an hour away from the airport. But a lot
Yeah.
of people moving, again, like I talk to so many relocation people, and the number one thing is family. So if you're looking for that accessibility and also the cruising, going on little small trips to the Bahamas, 100%, this is going to win against Texas every time. But that's why, because as a real estate agent, I'm looking at these homes that are in Texas, and I'm like, how are you getting an acre of land for $650,000? It's location. It's like you're far from the airport.
That's not $600,000 20 minutes from the airport. That's an hour plus
That's in
outside
the
of the
middle of
airport.
nowhere.
An hour outside of Dallas or whichever city you're looking at. So it's proximity, of course.
And it can be tempting too sometimes to see that. But like as someone who loves to travel, and can we talk about the fact that we don't even need to travel anymore? Like we literally live where people vacation. But there's something to be said about coming home from travel and not being like, what the fuck? Why do I live here? On Final Approach, when I lived in Michigan, I'd be looking around outside like, why? And it shouldn't feel like that.
We were just on a cruise and I was like, I'm
Can't wait to be
excited
home.
to get home because
wait to be home.
I'm just outside. It's
Yes.
beautiful. Like I don't dread coming home
From vacation.
I like doing short trips now versus in Canada. I was like, get me out of here.
As
like
long as possible.
as
You
long as
save money.
possible.
It's girl math.
now I'm like, I just want to go somewhere like 2-3 nights on the weekend. Get me home. I like my life, but I just like a little
A life you
visit.
don't need
Yes,
a vacation from
exactly.
is what you live in Florida.
Yeah.
Amazing. Okay, so we have really just gotten into all the details here, which I love to hear. That was super, super informative for people who are wanting warm weather. They're not sold on location. Now, I really am just so excited to learn more about this E-2 visa topic. I know that people need to spend money in order to do it, in order to get the visa. They need
like
to
they
invest.
do with anything in life.
Like
a lot of people
any
will say,
upgrade,
yes. A lot of people will say, oh, so it's only for rich people. You need money to do anything.
It's investing
Yes.
too. And the way that Jess is going to tell us that her and her husband and thousands of other people that you've been able to help do this have been able to do it in a way that it's more of an investment than an expense, right? And I encourage everyone who's listening to think of it as an investment. So you decided Florida over Texas. Did you get your deposit back?
We got most of it back. He kept.
It couldn't have been that big because it was only
This
a
is one
$600,000
thing I
house.
will say though. Texas has really nice people.
Yeah.
The guy that we gave the deposit to gave us all of our money back minus the $1,000 he had to pay to submit the drawings.
That's crazy.
like that doesn't happen in other places.
Definitely not. So when we were deciding on Texas versus Florida, ultimately we decided Florida, which was the right decision based on lifestyle of Jess. Not everyone is the same. So tell me how that looked. So you're bundled up around your fire in Canada. You're like, this sucks. This is not going to work for us and our family. What was the next step that you took? And is it the step that you would recommend to this day?
So the next step that we took once we realized we want out of Canada, we asked how. And we didn't know how, to be honest with you. We had followed a couple people randomly on Facebook, like, you know, a friend of a friend that you have on Facebook that you don't really know them. And we saw like, oh, they moved. So then we would, you know, message them. How did you do this? And honestly, they weren't very willing to give us information. It was, oh, I got an E-2 visa.
Why were they gatekeeping?
No idea. I couldn't tell you.
So weird.
So we asked them, they never answered. I don't know. They're busy. I'm sure they have other people asking the same questions.
They're over it. They're enjoying their new life.
Yes. So we started researching, what is this E-2 visa? So that's how we found it. It was just a friend of a friend on Facebook and asked them. And so we started searching it. We're like, oh, okay, we can do this. We're already entrepreneurs. You basically start or buy a business and spend some money and they let you there.
80 to 100 USD.
So the correct terminology is a substantial investment. So there's no set number. And so when I say $80,000 to $100,000, that's because my lawyer will not take a case under $70,000 and prefers you to get closer to that 100K mark. But
she has a lot of success stories. So this is the number that she puts in that success category.
But other lawyers that I've spoken to will say $250,000.
Oh my gosh.
Like it's insane.
That's when it becomes like, okay, this is out of anyone's wheelhouse. 250,000. I'm successful. And that to me, I would be like, okay, this is where my path ends.
There's a lot of discrepancy within this. And this is why finding the right lawyer is so, so, so important, and finding the right information. So we were starting from blind. We were Googling what's an E-2 visa, E-2 visa lawyer, what businesses count. Real estate doesn't count as a business. You can't buy a property for $100,000 or, you know, put a down payment for $100,000 and put a tenant in it and say, okay, I spent my $100,000. It doesn't work. It's not considered an active business. They consider it a passive investment. So they're not going to come and let you live here to just buy a house and rent it out. So then we were like, okay, because that's what we do. We were already, you know, buying properties and renting them out. So like, what else can we do that's still in our wheelhouse? So then we stumbled upon Airbnb Arbitrage, and we thought, okay, this is an active business. There's people coming in and out of your house. We're actively hiring cleaners. There's turnover. Can this work instead of the normal long-term real estate that everyone thinks of?
Was this something that you saw someone else was doing in order to, so you guys kind of coined this for yourselves. You guys kind of stumbled upon, well, wait a minute.
So we were looking at two different things at once. We wanted to move. We knew what we were already doing wasn't going to work. So we were looking at what's kind of close to what we're already doing that we can make work. So we started calling lawyers, and they shut us down. They said real estate doesn't work for the E-2 visa. It's not considered a business.
They were kind of blanketing real estate.
Exactly.
Instead of looking at more of the details of your business or your business plan.
Yes, because traditional long-term real estate does not work for the E-2 visa.
And he just says it. He's like, nope, it doesn't work.
Exactly. Don't even want to hear us out. And then we found a lawyer that asked us, oh, wait, I've never actually heard of this. Can you explain it to me? So we explained to him the process of Airbnb arbitrage. And he said, yeah, that'll work. He's like, I've actually never heard of this. I haven't had a case with this, but what you're telling me, totally, I can make your business plan work for this. It'll work. So we hired this lawyer. Turned out it wasn't the best experience. We ended up moving on from that lawyer, but that's another story for another day.
She walked so you guys can run.
Exactly. I've made the mistakes.
Seriously, like that's what happened here. Like I'm sure picking up and moving from one country to another, there's going to be mistakes, which is why it's so important to learn from someone like Jess who's done it, who's made the very expensive at some times.
Yes, we lost
mistakes. Other than the $1,000 deposit from that's nothing
that's
nominal.
Nothing.
That's like, you know, water under the fridge. But
under the fridge, under the
I know.
bridge.
I like to say it how I want.
Okay, no, that's cute.
It's all water under the fridge, when you kick like a little ice cube under there.
I didn't even know that. That's so cute. Oh my gosh.
I know.
So we lost our deposit from that lawyer. Moved on to
what kind of deposit?
It was $5,000.
Okay. All right. 5,000.
So we lost it.
Canadian.
Because we were like, we started asking, we would email him questions like, hey, we've gotten our first property. We're doing this. Like, what do we need to do? And he would just say, tell me when your case is ready. Like, he didn't want to answer our questions. He wasn't there for support. He was very responsive to our questions until we paid him our deposit. And then after that point, whenever we had questions, he wanted nothing to do with us. And we were like,
But this was the one that believed in it a little bit?
Yes. This is
the one that kind of was like, yeah, this could work.
Yeah.
And then ghosts you.
Yeah. Or it takes, 2 weeks to respond, and then a very
more cold
chat GTP response. And it's like, no, like, we need help. We don't know what we're doing. Like, we have no idea what to do here.
Your whole life is kind of on pause when you decide like it's time and we're moving. At least for me, like you said earlier in the podcast, like when my decision's made, like I'm like obsessive about it. So you guys are obsessed. He's not answering.
Yeah.
So basically you fire that attorney.
So we just said, you know what? Like, we don't trust you to submit our case. So we moved on. We asked for our money back.
The retainer?
Yes, our retainer back. He said, oh, well, we spent work. And I said, well, you didn't spend $5,000 worth of work. And he gave us nothing back. Anyways, we moved on.
It just
sometimes in life you need to know when to just like let it go and move on, and versus what's worth fighting for.
Is money.
Yes.
And spending that energy on that, you're missing out. It's almost like chasing like peanuts versus like the whole
Why
thing.
cry over pennies when you can run after dollars?
Yes. Oh, you know what it is? It's penny wise, dollar foolish.
Oh, okay.
That's a good one.
That's a good one. I haven't heard that one.
One of the guys I used to talk to a while ago, he said that. He goes, am I being penny wise, dollar foolish? Because some people are that way.
I like that one. That's catchy.
Yes, but that's what you guys are.
Yeah.
You guys are that way. Where you're like, I'm okay with losing this because there's so
how
much more to
energy am I going to spend fighting a lawyer for $5,000 versus just, moving on with my life?
Yep, we're moving to Florida. So keep going.
So then we hired another lawyer, which was... he was based in Texas.
So everyone that is going through this E-2 visa has to hire an attorney.
No.
Correct?
No.
Okay.
You can do it yourself.
I'm just trying to understand the process.
Yeah, you can do it yourself. Just like you can defend yourself.
Just like you can represent yourself
Exactly.
to buy a house.
Yeah,
which you
by
shouldn't,
yourself.
Okay?
But
you don't recommend people do it themselves.
No.
Hire an attorney.
Oh my
hire
gosh.
a realtor. Hire an attorney. Okay?
Yes, please. Like, I don't know why. If you're making one of the biggest decisions in your life.
Thank you. I tell people this all the time. Just hire someone. It will end up saving you money.
There's places that you can save, and there's
corners.
places where you can,
you can screw yourself over.
So yes, you can absolutely get your E-2 visa without a lawyer.
You can represent yourself in court.
Have
anytime.
fun. Don't ask me how to do it. Just good luck.
Good luck. I'll see you soon.
Yeah.
That's my favorite. I'll see you in a couple months.
Yeah.
Like when people come back.
Yes.
That's what
if you
people
are
do.
considering saving the money on a lawyer to get your E-2 visa, the E-2 visa is not for you.
No.
Because if you are a true like entrepreneur and you value the amount of time that you can put into your own business that you're starting, you will save and make more money than the money you're worried about spending on a lawyer.
Yes. So you just have to get into this mindset. If you're thinking about going down this route, it's spending the money where you need to.
Yes.
Right? That's what I'm gathering from this.
Exactly.
And people are just so... Like, people are asking me in my DMs about this E-2 visa. And so I know that they have no idea what's going on. And I can't properly help them, which is why I have Jess here, who does this every single day for the past few years. That her entire life's work, essentially, is what this is. So tell me then what happened. You hired the second attorney.
So second attorney we hired out of Texas. So we were like, okay, perfect. He was, so great. Hired him. And then... we had the money spent. From our end, everything was done. And
your money for the arbitrage.
Our money for the business.
Okay.
Our money spent into the U.S. business that we started. So we had enough money spent to submit our application.
What business did you start right away?
Airbnb Arbitrage.
How long can you stay in Florida if you're not a resident? If you're a resident of Canada, I should say.
So you could come start your business in the U.S. and get your E-2 visa before your 6 months is up and that you have to go to Canada.
Only if you have someone helping you that knows what they're doing. Because there is a learning curve and you're going to be like this. There's a route that will take you like this, and then there's a route that will take you like this. Will you get there? Yes. But how much wasted time and money is on that route?
100%. So that second lawyer we hired emailed us one day and said, hey guys, I'm really sorry. My caseload is just too high. I don't have time for your application. I'm sending you your money back.
After all this wasted time.
After all that wasted time.
What does it even like entail him to do? Like,
well, and that's what we were so...
That pisses me off.
He was not a visa-specific lawyer.
Excuse him. He's excused.
Yes.
We're done with him.
But yes, exactly.
I've had experiences like that in other areas too. Yeah. I just had that yesterday.
But he told us when we hired him, oh, this was so easy. I'm right where you're moving, you know, all the things. So anyways, he paid us back. So only time lost there, just time. Then we hired our third lawyer. Thank goodness. And this is who we recommend everyone that comes through our program to. They got our application done in like 2 months, submitted, approved. So easy. Answered our calls whenever we needed. Questions. We still, to this day, can call them at any time and like they will respond to us in 24 hours.
Professionalism. Yes. Honestly.
And
they care about you. They care about your needs and your wants and your desires. Like that is what sets people apart, is like the person that actually cares about that.
And it's crazy because so many people I talk to say the same thing, that they had to go through 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 lawyers to find the right one. It can be so fast and so easy if you have the right lawyer, but it's how do you know who's the right lawyer?
Yeah, you don't. And also it's like when you're going through this big life-changing move, any sort of hiccups that you have can feel like you're going in the wrong direction.
Yeah.
Like what I learned from my relocation was when you're on the right path, you're going to hit green lights and things are going to make sense and things are going to click. Like I moved and like I got qualified for my place by myself, and it was an expensive place because it was in the school zone that she was in, her daughter is in. When you're moving and you're hitting all these roadblocks, it's going to just defeat you. You're going to feel defeated, which is why it's so important to have help from somebody. So that way it's just a smooth process and you're not second guessing your decision to leave everything you've ever known and move into another country.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, I remember the panic when that lawyer sent us the email after 6 months of telling us he was working on our application and that it would every week it was, oh, it'll be done next week. It'll be done next week. And then 6 months passed by. And then when he said, sorry, I'm just too busy. Here's your money back. Like that was all we were focused on at that moment was getting our visa. And we were like, what do we do now? We've made all these plans to move. This is an expensive move. It's uprooting our life, where we took our kid out of school and that happened. It was debilitating at the time.
It's basically like, that gives me chills too, because it's like 8 months too. More, you had those other 2 attorneys as well. So
exactly
8 months and you're still at ground zero.
Yeah.
You aren't even really further along in the process at this point. You have to start over.
Exactly. And then so when we hired our third lawyer, and they were a godsend, so quick, so efficient. We felt so taken care of. We still do to this day, 2 years later. And mistakes we made along the way, or, we spent way more money than we needed to, or like all these extra things we realized we didn't need to do. That's kind of what brought us to this point and wanting to help other people do it, because it can be, I mean, obviously you're moving. It's not going to be an easy experience, but it can be simple. And
moving is so stressful.
Yes.
I sold my first home almost 2 years ago. And at this point, I had been selling real estate for 6 years. And I was like, what the fuck? I can't believe I've been so casually helping people do this. Because you're leaving behind memories. Like I remember driving away from my house for the last time, and you probably do too, the house that you built, the dream house that you built, being like, what the fuck am I doing? Is this the right move?
Yeah. And that's the thing.
You have to just keep going.
Yeah. And when you have all these other things going on, like you're selling your house and you're packing up your belongings and you're leaving your family, the last thing you want to be stressed about is
the process.
The process.
Yeah.
So that part of it at least can be easy and can be simple. And if you have the right team in place and the right information, like I said, you can get your visa in a fraction of the time that
And the
people
money,
expect.
which this is why I'm so excited about this part. So Jess and her husband and business partners have been able to get all of this in a tangible asset, essentially, for them to learn how to do this, for them to share their process. And it's one of those things that, like, hiring the wrong realtor, this is how I see it in my world, in my neck of the woods. Hiring the right realtor will save you thousands and thousands of dollars. As a business owner, I'm more concerned about the money I'm making than the money I'm spending, right? Like, obviously you have to, like, do your due diligence and make sure that it's within the budget, but I'm focused on what I'm making, which is why I've been successful in my industry. So I'm so excited to hear more about how you help people save money, skip all the headaches, and just streamline their visa so they can do it too.
Yeah, and I think it's important to note that we actually hired 2 mentorship programs before we started all of this.
Oh, so you hired someone to help you.
Yeah, so that's, back when we were in Canada and this was just an idea, we paid someone $40,000 for a mentorship to teach us how to do Airbnb arbitrage.
That's my favorite too. Anyone that's charging for anything, for my coaching, we've hired people that have helped us. And what we have spent on our education, in our expertise, we then charge people less than that. You know what I mean?
Well, that's exactly it. We paid, not saying this person's name, but we paid this person $40,000, and it consisted of 5 group Zoom calls. The first Zoom call was on mindset, nothing to do with Airbnb arbitrage at all. And then 4 1-hour group Zoom calls. That was it for $40,000. We were told, we would get all the support. We didn't get it. Anyways.
That's out there on the internet. Like, that is everywhere. Paying X amount of dollars for this thing that they talk up. And then those of us that have programs that are actually really good and the ROI is there, they kind of get a bad rep sometimes.
Yeah.
But it's so important what you just said is, like, you went through the bad program, so you know what to charge for your program that's way better, that knocks them out of the park.
Yes. And then we hired another program, which was a lot cheaper, better, but still we saw, like, a lot of gaps in what the 2 programs could offer.
You still had questions.
Exactly. So then when we thought, okay, where's the gap in the market? And that's what entrepreneurs do. They find a gap and they fill it.
Yes.
Gap
100%.
number 1, people don't know how to move to the USA. They have the money, they have the want, they have, the desire, but they don't know how, or they don't know who to hire, or what business to start, or anything like that. So that's gap number 1.
Because it's like a choose your own adventure thing.
Exactly.
It's not like, oh, you just do this exact business, right?
Yes.
Like, there's so many different businesses, and that could be overwhelming for someone that's doing something completely different in Canada that's not acceptable in the US as a business, or something that they can't navigate here.
For sure.
So that's so interesting. So how common is the E-2 visa, obtaining it, and what would you say is, like, the dream person that you can truly help that reaches out to you and says, hey, Jess, I'm interested in this. Like, what do I do?
So it's actually funny. I've met so many people here in Florida on their E-2 visa. It's like every other person I meet is a Canadian on their E-2 visa. And the typical person that is here on their E-2 visa is an entrepreneur, someone who's obviously tired of the cold, but they are taking their future into their own hands. They're not the type of person that's relying on the government to help them. They want to make their mark themselves. They want to take their life into their own hands, forge a new path, and honestly, they're sick of the Canadian government and what's going on up there.
Politically, it's fucked, I've heard.
Yes.
Politically, it's bad.
Yeah.
I've heard it's not good. I was just showing to my listing yesterday a Canadian couple, and they actually own a shower head company, and I think that's how they have their E-2 visa. But I was just talking to them about it, and they were venting a little bit about how polar opposites it is living in Canada versus living in Florida.
It's actually insane.
And scary as a parent.
Yes.
I'm sure.
And we saw the writing in the wall when we were living in Canada, what was going on in the schools, what they were allowing in the schools, I should say, and just what was going on in the government. And it was not the type of things that we were okay raising our child in. And so ultimately, that's why we looked for a place to live that aligned more with our values and what we wanted for our family. And everyone has the right to do that. If there's certain places that work for you, that's great. And I think we're so rooted in the fact that you have to live where you were born.
And that is the exact stigma that I help people break. And to what you said, with the right why, you can endure anyhow. So it's one of those things that it can't just be warm weather. There has to be obviously other benefits as well, because once you get here, that's when the work really starts. Like, you have to also make money. You have to make it work. You have to get a job here.
Yeah.
The cost of living is not cheap. I know it's not cheap in Toronto either, but people think that they're stuck or they're scared of kind of making a big move and making this big change. But where you live should not feel like a life sentence. And there is so much more out there. You just have to get in touch with the right people who can help guide you and save you money along the way and help lead you down the path that you really want to go. But the first step is that decision and deciding, like, I'm done. Like, I'm done with this cold weather, and I will do what it takes within reason to bring my family somewhere where I'm proud of where I live. And I love what's going on politically. So, Jess, I want to hear, how much success are you seeing from people that you're helping, and how many people have you helped, and how long are they on average taking to obtain their E-2 visas?
Yeah. So we have helped dozens of people in the last 3 years get their E-2 visa in under 6 months at 100% success rate.
I'm a Canadian. I'm ready to move to the US. I'm financially and mentally prepared for all that it's going to take. What is my next step in making it happen?
The next step is really just booking a consult with us, going over the process, seeing if it's the right fit for you, if you meet the qualifications, and then it's really just going for it.
Yeah, it's like a no obligation, like just chat it out. Like, talking to Jess is so easy. Like, I feel like she's one of my best friends, so it's very easy, but it's just a conversation. It's just opening the door to a conversation. And that's the same thing that happens with my relocation clients. It's like the same, booking a Zoom call and just chatting more about where you're at, because you're going to have a lot of questions, right? But you need the help of someone who has done it. It's very different when someone who has felt all the emotions, who has done it all, who's paid the money, is helping you and holding your hand. You feel less alone. Like, all of my relocation clients, I'm like, let me guess, you're scared of leaving your family. You feel like concerned about schools. Like, it is so priceless to have someone to even be a sounding board during those moments of doubt and am I making the right decision, who has done it.
Sometimes people just want to hear from someone who's done it that it's possible, because everyone has all these voices in their heads saying,
and stories of someone who's done it.
I can't do it. But guess what? It's possible. You can do it. I've had all the same fears and apprehensions that you have. You just have to do it. You just have to make the decision, commit to yourself, commit to your family, and it can be done.
And booking that call is step one of the process. Amazing. Well, I'm so happy. I feel like I know so much more about the E-2 visa, and it's just so helpful for me with all of my Canadian followers and people that need help. So thank you so much, Jess, for being so helpful with that. And next time we're going to talk even more about the steps and the different things that you can do.
Yeah, and next time we'll just talk about what type of businesses actually do qualify for the visa and what requirements you need to meet.
Yeah, there's so much that we can unpack on this. So we're just getting started. If you liked this video, like, subscribe, comment, and don't forget to book with Jess.
E-2 visa.